Y'all know I'm a huge fan of Law and Order SVU, but I will tell you, there were some episodes that were bad. Not just bad, terrible, horrible. Uh, there are some of them that I definitely would not recommend watching if you didn't see them. Now, if you already saw them, I mean, you know what I'm talking about, but I will tell you what some of the worst episodes are. And I'm not talking about episodes as far as like the rating in it, but in terms of the content, the context, as far as what the episodes talked about, what was in them. One of them I have to say is an episode entitled Raw, which took place, that was in season 7. And that episode primarily was about white supremacy. And there were a lot of racial terms being used against black people, Jewish people, Mexicans, Latinos. I mean, anybody who wasn't a white American. Uh, I believe the episode started off with the school shooting. Uh, there were 3 kids who got shot. One of them was killed, actually. The one who got killed was a little black boy. This was an elementary school, so these were really young kids. The 2 white kids who got killed, well, they were 2 Jewish kids. The guy who shot them bragged about it, and he said in court, "Yeah, I killed the 2 Jews and the porch monkey." And Marsha Gay Harden's character, she played somebody, I think her alias was Star, and in actuality, she was undercover. She was complaining about a lot of Jewish people being in New York, and she called it Jew York. And Richard Belzer's character, John Munch, Sergeant John Munch, is Jewish. She smacked him and called him a kike. Yeah, so, and also, believe it or not, even the word nigger was being used in that episode at least once. That's what one of the kids, the racist white teenagers who takes after his racist father, called Ice-T's character Finn. He said that about him. So really, I mean, also words like jungle bunny and spick and all those terms were being used. Beaner, they used all those words in there, and also it was. Now, I will say the good news about that episode is most of those white supremacist people in that episode ended up either getting killed or in prison for life. And it turns out that, like I said, Marsha Gay Harden's character, she revealed that she was undercover, so she didn't really mean what she said. So I guess she's kind of excused, although she committed some other crimes and was imprisoned in a later episode, but that's a different story. I covered that in a couple other videos. Overall, the episode was racist. It was hard to make it through it. I wouldn't be surprised if some black people were watching the show and some Jewish people who couldn't make it through the episode. But I just wanted to see how it all ended out. And I think justice was served. So that's one episode. The other episode I'm thinking of is an episode entitled Townhouse Incident, which took place in season 17. And there was a criminal by the name of Joe Utley, and he had 2 accomplices. One was his girlfriend, and the other was her brother. And they held a family hostage. There was a mother and some kids, and then Benson went to the house, and she was later held hostage with them. The guy, Joe, took a young girl who looked like she was, I want to say, preteen to early teenager. She couldn't have been older than 14, maybe 15. Took her into the room and proceeded to rape her. And it's not that we see it, I mean, but you can hear the screams coming from the other room, and it was very cringeworthy. The guy who ended up doing that, he ended up getting shot and killed by police later on. Good. So that was taken care of, so he's no longer a threat to that. And like I said, I'm not trying to make light of the idea of somebody being killed, but I mean, we're just talking about a TV show here, people, and it's in the show. I mean, I can sit there and say, whatever. But to people who have either dealt with things like that or experienced it or witnessed it or who know other people have dealt with that, I would say that these 2, me personally, I think those were the 2 worst episodes that they did. Anybody who did not see them, I would not recommend you watch them. But like I said, if you already watched it, I mean, you watched it, and I'm sure that a lot of you who are very reasonable minded have the same opinion I think that, again, SVU is an amazing show overall. It still gets 5 stars. All the actors and actresses do an amazing job. But there are just some episodes that I can do without. There's another episode I'm thinking of entitled Retro that was on season 10. I will say that that episode wasn't quite as bad as the other two that I listed. The gist of it is a doctor by the name of Gideon Hutton, who was played by Martin Mull, he denied that HIV causes AIDS. And he was providing all these ridiculous arguments in court. Luckily, he was in prison because he denied treatment to certain people and they ended up dying. The part that killed me was he only got 5 years. There were multiple people that died because of him, so he really should have gotten life. But they gave him 5 years, which I thought was absolutely crappy, but I guess it's better than nothing. He did actually make a couple racist remarks towards Tamara Tooney's character, who was Dr. Melinda Warner. And he basically was saying that she was uneducated and that she was a pet and that she was a joke and a fraud. And he made some comment about Africa or her people from Africa, which Kim Graylick pointed out was a racially motivated statement, which I agree with her on that. I can't remember the dialogue verbatim. It's been a while since I've seen that episode, and I kind of don't want to go back to that, just like I don't want to go back to the other 2 episodes I listed. But I'm just letting people know right now. I would say that those are the worst ones. Retro on season 10 is not quite as bad as Raw from 7 and Townhouse Incident from 17. I would not recommend watching any of those. They're too cringeworthy, and I would say those are probably, like I said, I'm repeating myself here, but those are the worst episodes that SVU has done.